Mr. President, Bobby Charles here, and we've had a dialogue before, but I am here to tell you that we are grateful that you went into Minnesota with your team and you found these rings and these fake nonprofits and these foreign influence operations run by the Somali community, and what you, I think aptly, it's what has been called the Somalia First operation. And the irony is, here in the state of Maine, we are facing something similar. I'm here to tell you that our public reporting, never mind some of the early indications from federal inquiries, seems to be that we have a Somalia First operation here, Democrat funded, out there registering voters at the same time that they literally skim hundreds of thousands, maybe millions off our MaineCare system. As you may know, MaineCare is our version of Medicaid. It is a complete outrage because they are taking these monies from taxpayers in the state of Maine and they are using them to put Somali operators, these Somalia First operators, in our state government, both on the administrative side and on the local side, and actually in our legislature. So my appeal to you is, you have done an extraordinary job in going after this Somalia First operation and network, including monies that are sent abroad by these people that seem to have a higher loyalty to Somalia than they do to the United States, and you've done it in Minnesota. I'm asking you, please send the Treasury Department's investigators, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the ICE investigators, and anybody that the federal government has at DOJ or Treasury here to Maine, and in particular go to Lewiston, and help us, and Augusta, and help us unearth this Somalia First operation here in the state that is guilty, almost certainly.
Matter of one generation.
Sometimes I used to wonder, a country has given you shelter and everything you own. When you start badmouthing the leader of that country, I don't know what you expect. I have seen these people, putting out videos upon videos, attacking Trump here and there. I don't know why they're doing this. Recently, Omar replied Trump, "His obsession with me is creepy. I hope he get the help he desperately need." It did not end there. In an interview with Laura Loomer, this is what she said. Omar, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here longer than Trump. He's an old man losing his mind. I hope he get help. So you can see this kind of provocative statement these people put out. I understand she has the right to say what she wants, but doing this every single time is uncalled for. They have discovered something your community is doing. Why not focus to look into that? Why believe that Trump is just coming after you only? That is insane.
Shocking to hear it, although I don't know how shocked you are at this point anymore. But Somali immigrants, in general, you in particular, have been the target of his attacks for a long time. What's your response?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked because we know that the president oftentimes resorts to very bigoted, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist rhetoric when he is trying to scapegoat and deflect from the actual failures that he has himself. We know that this administration has not fulfilled the majority of the promises that they've made, whether it is bringing costs down, whether it is the tariffs that are decimating businesses in the United States, whether it is the possible war crimes that his defense secretary is committing. And so to me, it is important for us, one, to remind folks that we are Americans. We're not going anywhere, and we will continue to be in this country. And two, that Minnesotans are resilient, and we will continue to thrive.
What is the practical impact?
The $1 billion welfare fraud scandal in Minnesota was enabled by DEI. Let me explain. Between 2020 and now, federal prosecutors say that more than $1 billion was stolen from Minnesota's social service programs and funneled to fraudulent nonprofits like Feeding Our Future. These organizations claim services for tens of thousands of children who didn't exist. Instead, taxpayer dollars went to funding luxury houses, high-end cars, jewelry, overseas real estate projects, and worst of all,
it is very important. Go back home and fix your country. I understand that these people might be angry for what is going on, but they don't realize that some of them are the cause. If you misuse the opportunity they have given you, don't expect anything less than this. Yeah, you've gone into a country, start misusing the opportunity, doing some fraudulent things, like what they recently discovered, then you want to continue to stay in that country. That's crazy, right? You can't do this to the expense of the citizens of that country, especially stealing taxpayers' money.
Minnesota Department of Education officials noticed red flags early. They questioned invoices that made no mathematical sense. They noticed new feeding centers were registered in strip malls that were basically empty. They saw providers claiming to serve more meals than there were children living in entire zip codes. And every time they tried to investigate, they were hit with the same accusation. If you expose this, that's because Feeding Our Future was run by American citizens of Somali heritage. When the state began scrutinizing their applications, the organization filed a discrimination complaint with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights and later sued the Department of Education, accusing it of racial bias and discrimination. Feeding Our Future weaponized DEI by telling the Minnesota Department of Education that failing to promptly approve new applicants from minority-owned businesses would result in a lawsuit featuring accusations of racism that would be sprawled across the news. In the post-George Floyd climate, that threat carried enormous political power. So agencies backed off, approvals kept flowing, and the fraud exploded. Most of the people charged in this fraud are a tiny fraction of Minnesota's Somali community, which is now stuck with the stigma created by a small group of offenders and a state government too scared to enforce basic.
I believe you've heard what she said. She concluded herself it is high time they move back to their country to build their own place. Yeah, that's the best thing. Then stay in other places committing crime. It's not like Somalians are the only person doing this. It becomes like a normal thing to some of these people. And now it is pronounced. Everybody is talking about them. There are other countries doing these kind of things, but the way these people took it and their reactions actually prove that they just take this to be a normal thing. She said it here. They are not the only one doing that. You can't really justify this, right? Call out people doing this in your country or people from the same country doing this with no justifications. That is how these people should be reacting.
So you know who is attacking Minnesota Governor Tim Walz over Somali Americans in Minnesota who were convicted of defrauding a government program for hundreds of millions of dollars. You gotta catch up with everybody. You know, this is, Tim Walz said, I put these people in jail. Yeah. It wasn't like we sat around and didn't do anything. And the horrific part is, why is he painting all Somali Americans with this paintbrush?
It is not a political issue. No. It's a human issue. And to what Walt said, I can't look into this president's heart, but I can look at his actions, and he is behaving and acting as a horrible human being.
The short clips at the end, that is for the YT algorithm. You can always skip.
7:09 p.m. went on nonstop until almost midnight. From 7 to 12, he posted 160 times.
And while the president wasn't exactly sure which organs were scanned, he knew which one wasn't. He beat Hillary by 41 points. Right.
And this ain't got nothing to do with color. This ain't got nothing to do with color. It's either God's side or Satan's side.
He even get an off
If the Democrat
thing, because how many times somebody asks?
4.
J.D. Vance should be the next president of the United States. If you want to serve in the American...
Give interviews, I don't do that.
J.D. Vance should be the next president of the United States.
Happening at the moment.
Yeah. President Obama.
He's blatant censorship.
Because he says he has a team of fact checkers.
The FCC.
I want them to stop fooling around with my right to say what I feel.
Well, Americans, it's a part of who we are.
Because that is really something that didn't happen before.
Does anybody else watch The View? Because I think there's...
I'm going to say one. Look, there are certain rules of free speech that we must all like
to have a television show.
To spreading lies.
Somebody to get up there, not
said that he doesn't...
Dave Chappelle.
Without of interest.
I mentioned last night Trump was bragging about. We're surprised to see Darth Renner.
Between now.
60 minutes for editing.
RCC. Lee Zeldin.
I'm from Minneapolis, and Somalians are just part of the culture here.